Okay, I'm back. It's the next day. These are all cured, and it's been 24 hours-ish, so they are pretty hard cured. So I'm going to have to drill holes in them. But I just want to run through the basics of the tools. I'm not going to do all of these on camera because I have to drill all of them. But, so I will have my mold, and I will have some style of a keychain. I have these ones from Amazon, these ones, and then I have these ones that came with the kit. So I have 10 of these, so I'm just going to go ahead and use them. So that'll be the actual keychain part. I get big bags of tassels. I think this one was 160 pieces. It was maybe $10 on Amazon. $11. I will find the link to that and add it in the description. With the tassels, I don't like, they have a very small hole, and while they fit on some of the keychains, like I don't think they'll actually fit on this one, but they'll fit on these, but it's pretty snug. They don't have a lot of movement. So what I like to do is take a split ring. A split ring, if you don't know the difference between a split ring and a jump ring, a split ring is like a tiny baby keychain. A jump ring is one like this that opens, and it's just a single loop. I prefer split rings to jump rings any day of the week. I am going to go ahead and use these jump rings that came with that kit, but typically if I'm adding my own, I will always go with a split ring. These are split ring pliers. They have, hopefully you can see it, a hook that goes in between the loops and opens it up to get you started. And then sometimes it's still difficult, but of course it's going to fight me because I'm on camera now. It's easier than trying to get your fingernail in there. Once you get it started, if you grab your pliers, you can just twist it around. So, one more time. I'd made a bunch up beforehand also. This is the type of thing when you get a bag of 160 like these, if you sit here watching TV or whatever with your tassels and your split rings, you can sit and watch TV and just assemble them all, and then you'll have every single one ready to go ahead of time. So I open it up on the pliers and just get it started, and then swap out from my regular pliers. These are just regular jewelry pliers from the craft store. Nothing fancy. These are also a split ring plier. These ones are from the fishing section of Bass Pro Shop. These have a larger hook. These are great for opening up the keychain and getting it started. So much easier and quicker. So that's how you do the tassels. Like I said, I did up a bunch already. So I'm going to move those and the keychains out of the way for a minute. Off to the side. These are those eye hooks that came in the kit. These are a little smaller than the ones I normally order, but I don't think they'll be too small for my drill. So I'm going to test one. If they're too small, I'll switch over to the slightly bigger ones I have. So when this is hard cured, because I didn't get to pull them last night before work and insert the eye hooks, I have this little tiny baby Drill Master rotary tool from Harbor Freight, and it has this tiny little drill bit that is perfect for this. I have a rotary tool from Home Depot, but it doesn't have a collet with it that will hold this bit, so I just use this one basically just for doing these. This was like $8 or $9 regular price, and 20% off coupon. It's like $6. So I'm going to go ahead and demold these. Pop them all out. And they seem to come out fairly easily. Some of the tighter spaces are a little bit stiffer, but this is a little stiffer of a mold. And I mentioned this, that the ink might discolor that, and it looks like it did, but I don't think it'll be an issue going forward. Some of the inks you can see did bloom a little bit, and some of them kind of stayed towards the back. You have to be careful with inks that you don't use too much, because the back can end up kind of rubbery. But I think I like the way these look quite a bit, and I may, when I'm finished, go ahead and fill the entire mold and ink all of them, because it gives them a different look than just the glitters. This is the first one that I've had that had any excess that needed to be trimmed off, but because it's still so fresh, I can just rip it off. I don't have to sand or do anything fancy to it. And actually, that A with the green is the only color that left any ink behind, so that's nice. And the mold is pretty clean. I don't really have to do much of any cleaning before I can go on to refill it. I mean, I can pick these little bubbles off and get any that moved on their own, but there is no real excess glitter except for that pink where I went over a little bit. So I'm pretty pleased with how that came out. Very pleased. Very pleased with the level of shine out of this mold. May actually end up ordering a second one so I can do a round of glitter and a round of ink at the same time. I'm going to measure one now that it's out, just to see how tall they actually are. So these ones are about 1.5 inches. They should all be. Whereas my other mold is a little bit bigger. My other mold is 2 inches. So I'll just put my L's side by side. But it doesn't really make that big a difference. I think these are actually maybe a better keychain shape size. So this is going to be noisy for a minute. I'm just going to drill a couple of the holes now, and I will get off of here after I've assembled a few and finish them. Please be careful when you're doing this, because you're kind of drilling into your fingers. So make sure you have a good grip and make sure you're on, not, you don't want to drive this through your hand and have to go to the emergency room. So I'm going to turn it on. Please also do this in a well-ventilated area. This will heat up the epoxy and release some gases and some dust and some fumes, potentially. So ventilate yourself. It's very loud. It sounds like a dentist drill. I can't stand it. But that's about far enough. So I'm going to go ahead and see if this is too big for this or if it'll work fine. Now I can already tell you that I'm not going to like this about the ink ones. That I'm going to have to pay more attention to where I put my holes, how deep I go, because you can see my drill mark through it. It's not the end of the world, and actually these are still kind of flexible, the ink ones anyways, so I may be able to just hand screw them in. The glittered ones not as much, but I do think that these hooks will hold. I'm pulling, oh nope, see, that's what I wanted to test. That was a good test. So I'm going to switch to my bigger hooks. I will save those little ones for ones that I do pull out quick enough. But I'm going to go ahead and do another one. It's hard for me to get the right angle to do this on camera. And I will show you with the glitter ones that you can't see through. This one, because the glitter sank to the front of the letter, you can see it on the back side a little bit, but you can't see it at all on the front. I don't know what I just flung, but that's okay. I'll find it later. I'm just going to grab a couple, do a couple up, and then show you final assembly. So... some people like to put their holes in the middle. I prefer to do all of them on a corner. Personal preference, you can put your holes anywhere you want. I find that if I do it in the center, I end up drilling all the way through, which isn't a big deal, but then you do have a hole in the bottom. So I'm gonna do one or two more. Just trying to do a variety of color, I guess. Just a quick in and out. Quick in and out. The T I will do in the center-ish. So... and I don't like to do too many before I screw them in, because I figure the heat around the hole will help it adhere more to the letter. I mean, I could be wrong. If you have fresh epoxy, you can dip the end in epoxy to fill, you know, just a tiny bit if you're worried about it coming apart. That's really not a big concern though. And this is the last one I'm going to do right now. So, I'm going to do one more of the inked ones. Can you see how it's bloomed a little bit? It didn't bloom a ton on these. I'm not entirely sure why, but I really think they look cool. So, I did try to go a little more towards the back. You can still see it though. I think that's just going to be unavoidable with the ink ones. And these ones are definitely much softer. That's a result of the ink. But they should continue to cure. They're not soft where I can like bend them in half or anything. I can just feel it with the drill and whatnot. So, got these ones ready. I will bring my tassels back up and kind of match up the colors that you think look pretty with each one. That one with that one. They don't have to match, they can match. I did some blacks to go with those and some grays to go with those. I think I'll put the gray on that one. This one I don't want to use because I did that one specifically for that piece. My fly is back. I haven't seen it. Now it's here again. Oh, I think I'll go with the navy on that one. So, I'm just going to go ahead and use these ones with the jump rings. You put your jump ring through the eye hook, and you put the last link on the chain through there. And really, I need a second pair of needle nose, and I don't have them handy. So, I'm going to try it with just a single pair. when you use a jump ring, you don't want to open it apart from each other. It's always a twist. If you open them apart the other direction, you will ruin the integrity of the loop. So that's it. You just close it. And I'm going to go back to my, see if they work on this style. They do. Back to that. And thread it on. And that one's complete. If I was using some of these, I was going to say some of these are just loops, but they're not. If I'm using this style, I will go ahead and put a jump ring on the eye hook, or a split ring, excuse me, because you do need, lost that one, split rings and jump rings like to go everywhere, but you do need enough of a surface for the keychain to fit through and have movement, otherwise it will break easier. So that goes on, and because this one doesn't have a chain, I can do this all at once. These are magnetic. Keeps picking stuff up on me. So, sorry, I'm out of frame. Open it up. Feed your keychain on, your tassel on, and in this case these ones have a hook, so you can clip it to your bag or your backpack or whatever, and then just go through all three of them, and that'll assemble that style. So I'm not going to do all of these, make you watch all of it, but I'm going to finish assembling. Actually, I'm probably not going to finish assembling them first. I'm going to go ahead and pour the mold again with all alcohol inks, and because I don't think that bothers me, the little bit of a ripple there. I think assembled it'll still be cute and fine. I'm just going to assemble this one real quick. I'm sorry, this is just an awkward way to work. The smaller split ring pliers will work on the bigger keychains, but I prefer to use the bigger ones. It's just easier and it opens them wider. But that is how the inked ones will look assembled. So, and this is going to bug me the way I put this tassel on, so I will actually swap those two. I'll take one or the other off and move the position so that the tassel is on this side of the letter, not that side. But that is it. 20 milliliters of epoxy and 200 milliliters of epoxy and 26 complete keychains, just like that. Thanks for watching. I do have one where I had one little tiny glitter void, but it's barely noticeable. Not a problem to the point where I would throw it away. If anything, if it really is going to bug me, I'll touch it up with some UV resin, but I don't think it's actually a problem. But be aware, especially with the finer glitters, they like to hold bubbles way more than any other. You can actually see where a few didn't quite work themselves out of the backside. Not worried about it. It's not enough to say boo. The average person probably won't even notice it. So, that's that. Thanks again for watching. And go ahead and order a kit and give some keychains of your own a try. They make great gifts. Younger girls, tween girls especially, love the initial keychains with the clip, especially for their backpacks. I do believe I ordered these ones on Amazon, So when I get a minute, I will look through my order history and see if I can find a link to these ones. Because like I said, they're great for kids or adults both, but kids especially like them. And I will catch you next time. Bye.